Hey there, friends. Welcome to another episode of Funk and Friends. I'm Josh Funk, and tonight I have, once again, a special guest, Deborah Underwood. She is the author of Reading Beauty and Ogilvy, and Here Comes the Easter Cat, and The Quiet Book, and a million other awesome books. Actually, I don't know. I'll have to ask her how many books she has. Hey, there's a go. How's it going? How
Good. How
are
are
you?
you? Let me just adjust my volume here.
Oh, okay, cool. It's nice to see you in person, sort of for the first time virtually. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. What I'm saying is pandemic good. I'm kind of pandemic good. So, how are you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
been
mean,
following you on social media, so I've seen a lot of fun things you're up to. I know that you have a raccoon friend
I
that I know that I wanted to ask you about. How's the raccoon doing? Does the raccoon have a name?
yeah, yes, the raccoon's name is Buddy, and
Buddy. Okay.
Buddy recently suffered a large disappointment because I realized I really needed to take the hummingbird feeder in at night so he could no longer come and just drink from it. Although he was adorable, and I have one of my favorite pictures in the world that I've ever taken is just he was standing at the window the night I didn't put it out there, and he'd come up looking for the hummingbird feeder, and he was just
I think I saw that picture. He was like looking over the edge of the fence or something.
he
Yeah.
was so sad, poor little Buddy. But I've discovered where Buddy lives. Actually, I saw
Oh.
him like crawling into. I live in a city block, so we have a kind of yard behind us, and it adjoins the neighbor's yard. And I saw this little raccoon butt kind of disappearing into a garage. So I
Ooh.
found Buddy's house. So that was
He has an
exciting.
actual house.
His
Okay.
actual house, I think.
Yeah.
That's my guess,
All
anyway.
right. Cool.
Yeah.
So Buddy, does he still come by, or
You know
are
what?
you sure it's a he? By the way, have you checked?
No, I'm not. That's really unfair. You know what? the first name that pops into my mind, that's kind of becomes the gender unless I hear otherwise. And that's probably just not, probably I should probably be saying they or something, but he just seemed like a buddy. I just think he was Buddy. So,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that works.
yeah,
So, and you also have been working on a garden, I saw too, which is kind of
yeah.
some fun stuff. I don't know, you've been finding interesting things to keep you busy. I saw some great pictures of maybe before and after shots recently, and it
Oh,
looks
yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really interesting because gardening has just never been anything that I've been particularly interested in. But my apartment building had this big, just sort of barren lot out behind it, and the landlord was actually paying these people to come and spray Roundup all over it and just cut down all the weeds once a month. And I was like, that's not good. So I figured if I could at least just get the weeds gone and put down some mulch, then they wouldn't spray them with this toxic stuff anymore. And I just kind of kept going, and it's been a really fun project. So yeah.
Hey, Carol. Yeah, that's really cool. So, okay, but I have you on because you are one of my favorite picture book authors,
Oh, thank.
and I have. Let's see, how many books have you published by now? It's got to be somewhere in like close to 100.
Oh gosh, no, I don't think so. I mean, I know that I have. I think I did 28 work for hire books when I was just starting out, and I was kind of trying to, learn the ropes, and that was a good way to do that. So those are all nonfiction. Um, and picture books, I'm not sure. I think they're around 25, 26 maybe at this point. So, I mean, you know how it is because you have a lot too. And it's like there's some that have not come out yet and some that are in this process. And it's like, I don't know how many anymore.
Yeah, I'm still at the point where I know the number, but you just lost track, so that's
Oh,
okay.
just because I'm bad at math. I think my dad.
Hashtag author problems. So, but yeah, no, you have some amazing books, award-winning books. The Quiet Book might have been one of your early big hits, I think. I know it won Crystal Kites, but it won some other awards too. And is a bestseller. Is that a New York Times bestseller as well?
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I mean, because it was just like I had one picture book come out, and then the next month this one came out, and we were just really lucky that everything sort of aligned, and it did well. So that was hugely helpful, obviously, because
Yeah, that's awesome, and that never
yeah,
goes away. You are a New York Times bestseller, so
it
that is super cool.
feels
Award-winning author.
yeah.
Um,
After like 10 or 15 years, it probably starts to die away a little bit, but whatever.
hey, you know what? They're never going to take away, Oscar nominee from some of those people who've gone on to do nothing afterwards. So,
Okay. Okay.
and I'm not suggesting that you've gone on to do nothing. You've been continuously making really awesome books. So we were always a fan of The Quiet Book when my kids were little, and then I loved the is it called the Here Comes the Easter Cat series? What's the series called with the cat?
I just kind of call it the Here Comes Cat series. I don't know.
Here Comes Cat. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So Easter was the first one, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I remember, but that one was really cool. And I don't know, it's one of those books that I'm like, oh man, I wish I wrote that. And I read a little bit about how you ended up, you can draw enough to at least help the editors maybe envision what your books might be, which is a huge benefit, I think, at sometimes, because even though Claudia Rueda illustrated, but you at least were able to express the whole, like, cats holding signs with the dialogue, and I don't know, it was super brilliant and really funny and different. The trim of the books are small, but they're thick, right? Are they 60 pages or more?
It is crazy. I think Easter Cat is like 80, and I think Tooth Fairy Cat might like be 96. So much of the credit just goes to like my wonderful editor, Jess Garrison at Dial, who, first of all, we know we're not supposed to send illustrations along with manuscripts, right? And in fact, when I sent this to my agent, she said, oh, I really like this, but can you try just kind of writing it out in a script format so we're not sending your pictures? And so I did that, but the humor just all fell flat. It's just such a visual page turn kind of thing. And so ultimately she just sent those on to the editor, who was willing to not only look at the manuscript, but also do what the book needed, which was make this ridiculously huge page count. So yeah.
How do you describe those books? I'm curious. Like, how do you pitch them? Because I don't have one with me, but you go first, and I'll.
I don't know. Just in terms of like picture book or whatever.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, what if you were pitching the book? It's kind of like a meta. It's hilarious. You're not supposed to say that about your own books. You say quirky. If it's funny, you say quirky, and that means it's funny. But because you're not supposed to say that you're funny.
That's good.
But I think it's clever in that it's like kind of the narrator talking to the cat and the cat talking back with signs, and I don't know. That's how I describe it, I guess.
Yeah.
But they're super cool books, and I think, though, you mentioned that, we're told certain rules, like don't send pictures or don't have too many notes for the illustrator and things like that. And I definitely agree for the most. Like, I agree with the reasons and the rationale behind that. But I do sometimes think that if you really want your book to be understood by the editor or the publisher or whoever's, ultimately the agent who's going to read it, sometimes that stuff can help, whether it's visual gags that you want to get across, or, you don't want to tell the illustrator how to do their job. Illustrators are incredibly talented people. And if you wanted to, or I wanted to, control the illustrations in a book, I should have learned to draw better. So, but I do think there are times where whatever you can do to get your point, your humor, your whatever it is across, sometimes it's okay to see if to add some stuff to the text, some notes or sketches or whatever it is. So
yeah. Well, I think an important point, though, is like, I think if that had been my first book and I had sent in the sketches, they would have just gone, she doesn't know how this works. She doesn't know that she's not supposed to do this. So, but I think after you have some books out and you have something of a track record, then I think you have more flexibility to break the rules. But I think in all circumstances, like if you need an illustration note to tell what is going on, that, I can't see that there'd be a problem with that. I think the problem is just when they say, well, Bobby is wearing a blue shirt and a what, know, or so.
Yeah, don't tell the illustrator how to do their job.
Right.
You could say what's going on, but not how. That's kind of my thoughts. So it looks like Angelica Jackson wanted to know if Bella was around.
She is. She's actually, I'm just going to, I don't know if you can see her tail sticking out from under the couch.
Oh, hi, Bella.
Bella. Do you want to come out and see some fans?
Oh yeah, but so we have 3 cats, and our cat Hero has very similar markings. My daughter and wife were noting that when they were looking at your pictures. I think Bella's a little bigger than our cat Hero, but yeah, Hero has a little bit of that. We have one that's Tabby, and he's old. He just turned 14, and he's on a bunch of medications, and the doctor said 3 years ago he had 9 months to live, and he's a cat, so that's what they do. Yeah, and then we have a big orange tabby named Lincoln who eats all the foods, and then our 3rd cat is a small one named Catnip Everdeen.
I love that.
Yeah, and so we have 3, and our daughter does the litter. And yeah, we have to do like the grain free and the almost only wet food, because the big cat has to lose weight. He's totally healthy, but he's way too. He's like 22 pounds, but he should be 18, which for cats is like 100 pounds.
Yeah.
So but yeah, how old is Bella?
Bella, I adopted her. Oh my gosh, what's the date today? Is this?
I don't know. Cheryl said it was happy early birthday. I don't know. Today's I do know the date. It's the 7th, August 7th.
I'm pretty sure I adopted her August 8th of 2010. So Bella, happy birthday almost. She's not impressed. Yeah, and they thought that she was probably 3 when I got her. So I mean, I don't know how carefully, how accurately they can tell.
We usually make up our cats' birthdays. Like they say, well, we got them around this time, and we think they were 10 weeks old, so or whatever.
Yeah, she's counting. Yeah, well, the thing about her was like I'd had 2 cats before, and they had just found me. They just sort of showed up on my 3rd floor apartment and just were like, "Okay, we live here now."
On the 3rd floor apartment, they found.
Yeah, they climbed up. It was another apartment, not this one, but yeah, they just climbed up the fire escape and just sort of were like, "Okay, we live here now." And in fact, I moved because I was not supposed to have pets here, and these 2 cats just kept coming in and assuming that they lived there. And I ended up moving because I would rather have them, with me than have that apartment. So anyway, so I'd never really been in the position of having to find a cat before in a shelter, and it's a big responsibility. Like I had already seen what, unfortunately the end of life stuff is like, and like the medical issues and what, and it's a big, you're in it for a long haul, and you want to get the right fit. So I drove to shelters like all over the Bay Area, and I was looking at cats. I was like, I need a sign. I need to know what the right cat is. But then I went back to the shelter that I'd been in before, and the adoption counselor, who I'm actually still Facebook friends with, Shannon, said, "Oh, we got a new cat in." And so we went into this cat room, and she sort of scratched the cat post, and Bella came down and she curled up in my lap and she started purring, and I was just like, I think this is my cat. So
you kind of just know. No, that's the way to do it. When we got Hero, my wife was actually volunteering at a shelter, and so she kind of knew a lot of the cats. And Hero came in with 2 of his brothers. He had a different name at the time, but 2 brothers that were found together, and yeah, that was a great way for her to kind of meet a lot of the cats, to identify which one might be the right one for us. Yeah. And I forget what Catnip came from. A rescue organization where we knew somebody who was like fostering cats. I don't know, and there was like a litter that the pregnant cat came, and so it was my daughter's first cat, so that was her cat. But yeah, so I don't know, it's fun. They do you got to keep on top of the litter, especially when there's 3. That's the one downside.
Yes, I can imagine. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's cool. And I never had pets growing up, so having them as an adult is my first. We had goldfish for like a month at a time, but they didn't last long. But you have a lot of books about animals, and so one that I really love is Ogilvy. I was talking about it came out last year, and I don't know, I just love it. It has a cool message that is not like in your face, but it's and it rhymes, which is good. You're a great rhymer, but you don't always rhyme, and I appreciate that. It is. Do you want to tell a little bit about Ogilvy?
Well, it's just about a new bunny who moves to a new town, and in this town, bunnies who wear dresses do a couple of particular things, and bunny who wear sweaters do different things. And Ogilvy is wearing this garment that is somewhere between the two of those, and they're trying to force Ogilvy to choose so they can dictate what Ogilvy does. And Ogilvy ultimately finds his voice and says that's all ridiculous and everybody should get to do everything. And the ITL Macbeth are fabulous. Yeah. And in fact, that's the illustrations are how that story started. There was an editor who just fell in love with it. Yeah, it was really lovely. Laura Godwin loved the illustrations, and so I just had a whole bunch of these sitting around. I just cut out all the pictures and sort of stuck them in my living room. I was staring at them because she wanted to try to find a story to go with it. And one day, like after weeks, I was just at the pictures and I was like, is that a dress or a sweater? And then I was like, oh, that's it. That's the book. So that was an untraditional way that it came about. So
that's really cool. Yeah, and you have another book with T.L. Macbeth that just came out, right? Called Ducks.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about Ducks, because this is one of the problems with the pandemic is I haven't read as many of the new books that have come out, and you have a bunch, by the way. You have how many books do you have this year? You have Ducks, you have Outside In, you have The Letter.
Yep.
I forget blanket on the title. But Every Little Letter, and
yeah.
What,
that's it. That's all for this year. So
just those three? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, how things kind of shift around. But yeah, Ducks was another one that I sold with a sketch dummy because there are only two words in it, ducks and no ducks. Those are the two. So it's all very visual. I mean, I would have one piece of paper with ducks, no ducks, ducks, no ducks, ducks, no ducks. Here, give me a contract. But
yeah, you need something else, I think, probably.
A little more, yeah.
You could try that, though. I don't know.
Maybe
someone with your experience might be able to get away with that.
Okay, cats, no cats, no cats. I don't know. I was having trouble writing, but I think maybe
turn in a wordless book with no notes and just say.
Very tempting, isn't it? It's like
here's an offer.
Yeah, illustrator to show.
Yeah.
So, so it was nice. So then when they acquired the Ogilvy story, they did decided to have him do the illustrations for Ducks as well, and I'm really thrilled with how that turned out. So
very cool. And you also have, and I guess this was the end of last year, I think, the Reading Beauty.
Yeah.
So I love this series. Interstellar Cinderella is one of my favorite books. These are great rhyming books, and the illustrations are awesome by Meg Hunt. And they're just super fun stories, and there's more coming, right? You have this. Is that correct? I believe
one more. So that should be
okay.
Next year, I think. I can't even remember. I mean, I don't even know what day it is, or month, or year at this point.
Yeah,
but,
it's probably Tuesday, but it could be Friday.
Think? Okay, yeah. Who knows? It's all the same, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have Interstellar Cinderella, which it kind of turns, the Cinderella on its head, and it's in the future, and she is fixing rockets and doesn't really need the prince, which I think is great. And Reading Beauty is super cool. She has to avoid the prophecy of getting a paper cut, which is hilarious. And what is the third one about? What fairy tale are you tackling?
It's gonna be Snow White, and
That's what I thought.
I think it's gonna be Joe Bright and the Seven Bots.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
so,
I like bots. I was thinking about that. Like, I just don't think dwarfs is a word that I would want to use a lot in any book.
No.
So yeah. So you had an announcement for a new book on Tuesday, just in time for this interview. So
yes. Yeah, but you know how the book sold the book like, I don't know, months and months ago, and it was just like stuff had place. So I think we must have sold it before the pandemic. So it's been a while.
Yeah, but so what? Tell me about this new book that just got announced.
It's called Bear Plane, and I'm so excited. The illustrator is Sam, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Wedelich, who is just amazing. And it's just sort of a story about a little bear having the little bear's first airplane trip and just all the things that are involved in air travel. Again, obviously written before the pandemic, but I hope by the time that it comes out, then people will be flying again. So that's good.
Yeah, I wrote a story about like having a party at home before the pandemic, and it wasn't one of my best ones, and my agent and I weren't really going to do anything with it, but then the pandemic hit, and like we were talking right after, and we're like, oh, this would be the perfect time for it. And so we're like, yeah, maybe I'll revise it. And then like a month later, when we chatted again to decide what to do, we're like, yeah, I don't think anybody wants that story. It was like a few weeks after it started, we were like, oh, this is perfect. And then a month after, we were like, no, not now.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah, I don't really want to work on that story right now. So, but yeah, but so yes, you are vegan, which is super cool. High five for Team Vegan.
High five.
And so you live in San Francisco, is that correct?
I do.
Yeah. And my wife actually was born in San Francisco. I've only been there one time for her brother's wedding a while ago, and my uncle lives out there too. But yeah, I live on the East Coast, but I know that there's some amazing restaurants in the San Francisco area, and a lot of cities have good restaurants. But do you have any favorite vegan dishes or vegan restaurants or anything like that you're super into?
You know what? There is a bakery in Oakland. It's a kind of a coffee roastery place called Timeless. And it's a stealth vegan place. So they have delicious coffee, but they have all of these cakes and whatever, but it doesn't say vegan anywhere. It's just kind of like, you just have to know, but they are so good. So, so whenever I used to go over to the East Coast, I haven't done for a while, I would find an excuse to go by and like get a slice of cake or something to bring home. So nice. Yeah, so that was one of my favorites. So
is Bella vegan?
She is not vegan.
Yeah, our cats aren't either.
Nah.
We've tried some of the food, some of the vegan foods. They just aren't interested. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. But you know, if we're doing it for ourselves, I think that's what we try to do. But yeah, there's we live not too far from Boston, and so there's a lot of great places around here too. And as I was saying, somebody shared vegan donuts on Melanie shared vegan donuts on Twitter with me the other day, and I was like, if it was in Massachusetts, like an hour away, we would have driven, but we would have had to cross through New Hampshire and just over the border into Maine, even though it's only like probably an hour and 10 minutes away. But I don't think that's allowed. So,
yeah.
But they looked great, the vegan. And you were saying that something that you want to go to Disneyland probably for some vegan thing that they have.
Yeah, they just might.
Oh, hey, Janie Ho.
Sorry. My niece is a vegan now too, and so she's been doing all this great research. She lives in Scotland, and she just has this whole list of all the stuff at Disneyland. So yeah, and she said, go look up Freak Shake, and I just looked, and oh my gosh, it looks pretty amazing. So
have you asked her if there's any vegan haggis? Is there like a vegan haggis?
There is a vegetarian haggis. It's really good.
Yeah.
When I was over there, it's like I mean, because apparently haggis, a lot of the stuff is just the spices, but it's just and rice and whatever, and it's actually delicious. It was.
Is your niece Soph ML Gent?
Yes, is she there?
Oh, okay, yeah, she says I'm here. Yeah.
Oh,
so say hi. She's hanging out. Oh, she's the one who said Team Vegan a few minutes ago. Yay, Team Vegan. Yeah. No, Disney World, which is where we've been, has a ton of good vegan stuff, and then I think I read recently that they're adding even more, so they've actually been pretty good. Oh no, Carol Monroe says we can actually go to Maine and return without a problem. Okay, that might be something that we do today, or well, no, it's probably late for today, but this weekend. So I'll double check the rules. I know they just added Rhode Island as a state not to go to, but that's the other direction. So we're good. but yeah, so well, that's super cool. And then I believe I've also heard you sing before. Is that correct? Did you sing or play an instrument at least with your agency's retreat? I think
Yeah,
there
many.
might, yeah, it's a whole bunch of you were doing it.
Yeah, we had a little
Yeah, it
band
has a name.
called
What was the band's name?
Dog, Aaron Murphy's Dog.
Aaron Murphy's Dog.
I'm
Okay.
not quite, yes, we haven't played together for a very long time, but yeah, it was very fun. I was playing ukulele very badly, but I actually do sing, and so yeah, so I sing like with a local choir, and I've
Oh,
been my whole life. So
that's
that's been,
awesome.
yeah, it's been great. It's just obviously that's a difficult thing with the pandemic though, because choirs are just out for a long time. But
Okay, I will start a YouTube channel like of
okay,
you singing, and maybe that'll take off. And
okay,
you know, what you could do is I've seen, I think it's his name is Peter Hollins. He has like he records himself doing all the different parts and then like puts them in like across the screen, and so you could just make your own like choir of Deborah Underwood's.
okay. Well,
Like,
I'm not doing any writing lately, so I might as well do something, right? I've got the
yeah, you
garden.
could learn how to make videos and things like that. Do you think that singing, and I don't know if you ever did songwriting or anything like that, if you play the ukulele, do you think that helps you with some of your picture book writing or writing in rhyme?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I do. And I don't know, are you a musician, Josh? I mean,
I
you,
played guitar in
yeah,
college and afterwards, and
yeah,
yeah, I like to write my own songs, and
yep,
usually they rhyme. Yeah. So
yeah.
you think that helps? That's
I really do.
interesting.
I mean, I know, like, I sang for, gosh, close to 20 years with this chamber choir in San Francisco that did a lot of new music, like working with local composers, and that was wonderful. But I mean, you can really tell if you're singing line and it's set musically, and the emphasis isn't on the right syllable or whatever. I mean, you can just tell in a hot second that it's not going to work. So I just feel like that rhythm and rhyme has kind of been internalized from all my years of singing things set to music. And in fact, like if people want to know how to write better in rhyme, like I will steer them to, oh gosh, like Gilbert and Sullivan. Like I love listening to their music, and they're just very clever. The patter songs and great meter and rhyme and stuff. Or yeah, I mean, I just think that's a really good way to kind of get at the rhyme in a different way. So
I think it I think it can definitely help, and it like writing music means you've figured out a rhythm. Like you
mhm.
have to have some rhythm to do that. But
Yeah.
I also think that in some ways, not all songs emphasize the right word, the right syllables of the right words.
Mhm.
So, and a lot, in fact, a lot of songs don't. Um, and so you can actually learn bad lessons by writing in,
Huh.
going with songwriting, because you get away with it in songwriting because you're singing a song. And I often tell people, like, well, when you hear something on the radio, and I don't have the best example in my head right now, but when you hear something on the radio, you're hearing somebody else sing it. So you can always copy how they sing it, right?
Right.
But you can't necessarily always, but with a book, you're not copying anybody. You're reading it cold for the first time. So
Yeah.
it's different in that respect. Like it's not a song that you've heard someone sing to you before, or you have the sheet music or whatever. So
Right.
I definitely think that like, but like the baseline of having a sense of rhythm,
Mhm.
it definitely did. I think I mean, I was a They Might Be Giants fan. So like all
Oh,
the quirky music. Yeah,
yeah.
I love They Might Be Giants. And
Yeah.
like I've seen them in concert at least probably close to a dozen times. Not
Oh,
lately, although I did see them because they did kids albums. So I took my daughter about 8 or 9 years ago to one of their concerts. They actually grew up a town or two over from here,
oh,
so they have family around and come back to the Boston area a good amount. Even though I think they're really out of Brooklyn,
mm.
but yeah, and so like I always like nerd rock, and I think that lends toward my writing quirky picture books
Yeah.
often in rhyme. Um, so yeah, I think that's cool. So I have I wanted to ask you wait, no, I asked you that already. About your garden. So are you growing any food in the garden, or is it just plants and stuff?
It's kind of a sore subject right now
Oh,
because
all right, never mind.
no,
Pretend I didn't ask.
I was growing kale. The thing that I did not understand about gardening is that you don't just plant the stuff and you're done. You plant the stuff and then you go out and you see weird bugs on it and weird eggs on it and weird.
Yeah.
So I had some kale that was doing well, and then now it's like something's eating it, and so yeah. So I was growing kale. I have some chard that is still kind of alive, but I'm, I think that it's safe to say I will not be eating my bounty for for the next year.
Okay. Yeah. That's not. We had a garden when we lived in Virginia, and we had a lot of fun with it. We actually did it in the front yard. We were like, whatever, it's land. And the first year was great. We had these giant tomatoes. It was the year my son was born, and they were bigger than his head. Like I have this one picture somewhere. I don't know if I can dig it up easily, but like 2 giant tomatoes in the little baby basket with him. And like they were each bigger than his head. They were enormous. And then I guess the next year we did it again, but we didn't rotate where the plants were. And so they weren't as good. So I think you're supposed to like rotate which vegetables are where each year.
Right.
And then moving to Massachusetts, you can have gardens here. And I think we may actually try to get a plot for next year. But we, the places we live didn't have great sunlight in around them. And so we never really tried and the season, the growing season is significantly shorter by like a month on each end. So, but yeah. So I have random questions in a hat. So I'm going to ask you 5 completely unrelated to children's literature, probably. Random questions in a hat. Okay. Ready. What movie have you seen more times than any other movie?
I'm not sure, but maybe Galaxy Quest.
Ooh, interesting. I like Galaxy Quest a lot. I saw it in the theaters at least twice, I think. Yeah. It's a funny one. Yeah. And I think even my kids kind of liked it. There's not really much wrong with it. They might have a few swears, but I'm not even sure. Like maybe like 1 or something. And it's pretty kid friendly. It's a fun one. I don't know. Were you a Trekkie ever? Yeah. I liked Star Trek: The Next Generation. I would watch that on Saturday nights. I think it was on Saturday nights. And then I would watch all the reruns when I was a kid, like on the WB or whatever it was called back then. So I definitely liked that one. I never really got into the old show, but I liked one of the first movies I remember seeing was the Star Trek 4, the whale one, when they go to the 80s. So that's a solid movie too. Yeah, I like that one. But do you like the new Star Treks that they're making?
You know what? I have not been able to watch the most recent one because I don't have whatever the cable thing is that it's on. So I kind of fell off. I mean, the original one is the one that I grew up with and the one that my parents watched and stuff. So that's kind of always going to be closest to my heart, I think. But the Next Generation was great too. And then there's so many, I kind of lost track. Yeah,
and then Galaxy Quest. That has a great cast too. Even like the minor characters went on to do really fun things. So yeah. That's an excellent choice for a movie that you've seen more than any other.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's see. Sour apple candies, are they delicious or disgusting?
Disgusting.
Yes, I totally agree. Do you all? Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's the one Jolly Rancher that I don't like.
Right.
Do you like candy corn? I know it's hard to find vegan candy corn, but
it's really hard. I've had vegan candy corn. I mean, candy corn since I became vegan in like 97 or whenever it was.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, they have it now, but probably not back then. They almost all have honey and gelatin in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the standard Brax one that you see everywhere has honey and gelatin, or at least gelatin, I think. But I've seen some vegan ones, but I haven't tried them because I've been trying to eat not just plain sugar. But I love it's probably my favorite food in the world. If I yeah. Oh, good. Carol Monroe. Disgusting. I'm glad you agree with that.
Good.
All right. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Oh, Jack Wilde.
Jack Wilde. Okay.
He was in this show HR Puffin Stuff, and I don't know why, but I got fixated on him when I was in like 4th grade or something. And
I don't think I know who that is.
I think he passed away, unfortunately. I think he went on to do some theater in England, maybe. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, I mean, Puffin Stuff was just this ridiculous Sid and Marty Krofft show that I liked when I was a kid. And I had a crush on him. I don't know why, but that was the first one. Yeah, I'm going to have to look it up. I mean, if you really go with first celebrity crush, I think mine would have been Miss Piggy. But I don't know if that actually counts. Oh, you know what? Then mine was Underdog. If we're talking about, animal characters, Might have been underdog. Yeah.
You know, I can see some, not in your drawings, obviously, but like, I feel like T.O. Macbeth has a little underdog in his style. Not exactly, I mean, but I feel like maybe it's just the coloring or, yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. So, so this is question number 3, I think. Candles or incense? So, no, this is 4. Question number 4. Candles or incense?
Candles. Unscented candles.
Scented candles? Yeah.
I just, fragrant stuff gives me a headache, and I hate it.
Unscented. Okay. Yeah. Really? Yeah. Even with cats. Well, when we have 3 cats, sometimes we need it. One of our cats, the big one, when we got him, he was great for a year. But after a year, he ended up like, I don't know if it was that we had too many cats with the same litter, and we should have like gotten another litter. And eventually we did, but he started going to the bathroom all over the place. And usually like in our shower, but as soon as we'd walk in the house, we'd be like, oh, he definitely went somewhere. Like you could tell from, like, anyway. But so I got a really good, funny poem about it that's never going to be turned into a picture book or anything, but I read it live for kids if the teachers say it's appropriate, because it's about a pooping cat. But yeah, I'll share it with you someday. When we meet in person, I'll share it with you.
Okay.
But yeah. So, so I sometimes we need the scent in our house, I think. It's also because we have a teenage boy who doesn't shower enough. And I probably could shower more too, especially because in my office is in a room without air conditioning or whatever. But yeah. So anyway, all right. Last question. How do you pronounce the word spelled Apricot?
Oh. Well, if you'd snuck up on me, I would have been able to do it easily. Now I'm thinking about it. I think I say apricot.
Oh, no. Yeah, my wife says apricot. I say apricot. Right. But she's right then. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty much always right, so to be fair. But wouldn't that be like something that a monkey, or not a monkey, an ape would eat? Like an apricot is something that a human eats, and then apricot is something, I don't know. I'm just trying to make up a reason why it's pronounced, but I'll go with, she actually, when I was telling her to she's my researcher, and but I already knew a decent amount about you, with the cats and with the garden, and your social media shares interesting things. Unlike some other people, it's like, it's all book stuff. So you can't find out anything about people. And so, but I knew you were vegan, and she's like, I told her, I was like, she's a vegan. She loves cats. And she likes, quiet stuff and doesn't love people or whatever. And my wife's like, she's my friend. So, yeah. So my wife would get along very well with you, I think.
Excellent.
But yeah, did you have anything that you wanted to promote while you're here? I know you have 2 pretty brand new books that just came out.
Can I just, just quickly, this is, and since I can't see myself, and I'm sorry if there are anybody that I'm not saying hi to, it's just because I can't see the chat. So hi, everybody. But,
that's perfect. You're holding it perfectly.
Outside In with illustrations by Cindy Derby, which is about our connection to the outside world, and came out at either the absolute worst or the absolute best time when we're all stuck inside. But the illustrations are just stunning, and I think Bella is pretty sure she's the cat on the cover, although I'm not sure if it's actually true.
Yeah. And it's gotten amazing reviews. Betsy Berg did a fantastic review, and it's I don't know, the illustrator is awesome. I love her book about the ants, How to Walk an Ant. And so this is probably only your 2nd book, right?
I think so. I think that's right. So, and I think she came out too. I think so.
Yeah.
But she's amazing, and she lives in San Francisco, and I actually know her. So
super cool. Yeah. That's great.
Great to do a book, and of course it would have been nice if we could do events together, but no. But we have our book out.
Someday you will.
Someday, and then just this week, Every Little Letter with gorgeous illustrations by Joy Huang Ruiz just came out, and I'm just thrilled about it. I just
So tell me about that book, because I read a little bit about it, but tell me what it's about.
Well, it's about a city of letters, a city of H's that is surrounded by walls, and it's all H's. And they have wall around them because they're afraid of the other letters, because the other letters are different. And then one day, a little H sees a hole in the wall, and she meets a little I, and they discover that together they can make
Hi.
pretty special.
Yeah.
But then the grown-ups seal up the wall again, and then the little letters just have to figure out how to get the adults to take the walls down so they can all join together and and be friends. So that's what that's about.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And I love the anthropomorphic stuff. I love the anthropomorphic letters. That's really, really cool. I love it. And it's so Tara Lazar has the Private Eye books, which are great. And this is a totally different art style. And that is Joy Huang Ruiz is her name. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's her debut, right?
It is.
That's super cool.
She's amazing. And she's had this. She's on Instagram. She's super active there. Has like a whole lot of followers. She has this. Her site is Mom is Drawing, and so she kind of has been documenting like her family stuff with these wonderful illustrations for like quite a while. I think since after her first baby was born. So
so anyway. I followed her recently when somebody mentioned that your book was coming out. Was it Katrina? Anyway, one of my earlier guests mentioned that she was a fan of hers, and so that's super cool. Yeah, she's awesome. But yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me. And where can people find you on social media and websites and everything?
Yeah, I'm pretty active on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, which I never tweet. I just don't tweet. But it's Underwood Writer. Instagram, I'm here a little bit more. And my website is DeborahUnderwoodBooks.com. And Josh, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. And it's been so wonderful to get to talk to you. And I also just want to say you are so incredibly generous in terms of promoting other writers and posting about their stuff. It just really means a tremendous amount to me and to a lot of people. And it's so kind of you. And so I just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I mean, the children's book world has been so welcoming since I've, started writing less than a decade ago. And it's kind of just the way that it goes, I think. But it's great to finally chat with you in virtual person, and hopefully we get to hang out in person someday soon. If you're ever touring the Boston area, let me know, and maybe hopefully there'll probably be a conference that we get to go to at some point. So
I hope so. That would be great.
Yeah. And we'll grab some vegan donuts. I'll report back if we do end up going to Maine this weekend, which I'm not kidding is highly likely. If it's allowed. So, good. All right. Well, have a great night, and or actually afternoon. Have a good dinner, I hope. And I will catch you later.
Great.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Bye.